do want to get your thoughts, Jovan, on the trade deadline, because it's funny. You talk about Cam Reddish. You know, DeMar DeRozan's name has been attached to the Lakers for quite some time. That's a guy that, I'm curious your thoughts on, because if a guy like DeMar, excuse me, if a guy like DeMar came to town, that obviously impacts a guy like Cam Reddish. And so they've got a good thing going with Cam. I know that seems like a weird thing to put those two guys in the same sentence. DeMar is a future Hall of Famer, but that name, you got Alex Caruso, which of course comes with a whole crazy subplot of they probably should have just paid him the first time around, or whatever names might be coming your way. What is not, you don't have to spill your whole notebook at this point, trade deadline wise, but what are your thoughts on some of those possibilities?
Yeah, I mean, as I've reported, the Lakers have interest in the three Bulls guys that appear to be available, and Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Alex Caruso. Their preference would be DeRozan and or Caruso. I think they're going to approach it with some patience and hope that the LaVine situation gets solved first, and then maybe they can swoop in there and try and get DeRozan and or Caruso. But I think both guys would bring much needed skill sets to this roster. I think that the Lakers have Austin Reeves has been playing much better, particularly since the Phoenix game in the quarterfinals of the in-season tournament. But that kind of third reliable offensive option and a guy who would be second offensive option on nights that LeBron or AD is out hasn't really been there consistently. So I think slotting Austin is probably more of the third option on those nights, fourth option on most other nights. That's probably a better slotting of his skill set and his strengths and what the Lakers need. So I think DeRozan being that third guy offensively would be a really good fit. Now his shooting is a concern, and I just mentioned the 3-point shooting, and like that's not one of his. He's having a decent shooting year, but it's not one of his strengths. And then of course just having so many ball handlers, like there is only one ball, and we know LeBron is going to have it in crunch time. We know they're going to run the LeBron AD pick and roll. So what does that do for DeMar? How does he accept kind of being lower in the pecking order than he's accustomed to? Caruso, I think, is a perfect fit. Like I really think any contender or just playoff team could use a guy like Alex Caruso. He's kind of become that ideal guard to put next to star wings who have the ball, where he can spot up, he can get out in transition, he can do some secondary playmaking and ball handling.
Would they have
he
a
doesn't
parade?
Need the ball.
Would they have a parade down in LA Live? Which, by the way, I'm at LA Live right now, so I can just envision a parade for Alex Caruso upon his return.
Well, I think a Caruso Reeves backcourt would break NBA Twitter. It would just like that. That would be the two most hyped white guys. The same backcourt would be something for social media. But
did you catch, as a quick aside, Yoman, did you catch in Vegas when Tyrese Halliburton was asked about his relationship with Austin, and he said all kinds of nice things about him, and then he's like, yeah, he gets a lot of attention in the media for some reason. It was like,
no, I didn't see that. No.
For some reason, yes. We got to get off that hyping white dudes thing.
Yeah,
present company excluded.
But I think the Lakers are going to make a move. I think it's just going to be something that happens closer to the deadline, that they're going to evaluate over the next 4 to 6 weeks in terms of just what guys fit, what guys don't. I thought Darvin Ham had some pretty damning comments last night in his post game that kind of flew under the radar, where he was like, we got to add some common sense to our talent. And I don't know if that was in regard to a specific player, or just the fourth quarter meltdown that they had. But I thought that was an interesting, like Darvin usually is pretty, he'll take the optimistic route, and he'll be, even if they almost blow a game, he'll be, we won the game. It's hard to win games. And like, he'll always take the glass half full approach. But last night he was kind of going in on them and going at like the decision-making and the common sense stuff. And the guy who was handling the ball for a lot of that fourth quarter was D'Angelo Russell. And he's someone who hasn't been closing games recently for them. His role has been slightly reduced offensively, and he's the primary guy that they would have to trade really for any sizable move. So I do wonder, that's kind of interesting subplot here of just like, what happens with D'Lo? He kind of is the guy that has to be traded if you just look at their contracts. And really any move that they make, if it is DeRozan, Caruso, they can trade other guys just because he's making less money. But like any notable move to their starting lineup would almost have to require D'Angelo going out. So that to me is something to watch for over the next 4 to 6 weeks.